Yeah, ready.
Okay. All right.
What's up, everybody? Happy
What's
Saturday.
up?
Welcome to the Half Hour of Horror. Me, Aaron McLean, host as usual. Oh, hey, it's Chase. And special guests today. They've been here before. Please give them a big welcome. Skylar Gaetano and Christopher Carlson. Welcome, everybody.
What's up, guys?
How's it going?
I am so excited because we are doing one of our director's retrospectives. This is where we talk about just one director and all of their movies. And we started out with a heavy hitter. This is the renowned John Carpenter. And I'm excited. I love John Carpenter movies. And I made the mistake of watching his filmography backwards. So
That's the wrong way to go about this, Aaron.
It was, but I hadn't seen those movies. I guess I had seen them more, I don't know. Anyway, they came out more recently, but I hadn't watched them more than once, where it's like, I'll watch The Thing every Halloween, maybe twice. So, yeah, very interesting. Let's dive in. John Carpenter, what was your first exposure to him, and where do you want to start talking about John Carpenter? Chase, you said he's one of your favorite directors.
Yes, he is. It's actually funny you mentioned the watching his filmography backwards, because me and Chris were talking earlier this week. You were asking, like, should I watch it backwards or start from front? Either way, I'm not watching Dark Star. Like,
pretty much.
But I think mine introduction to probably a lot of people's was 1978's Halloween, a masterpiece, one of his earlier films. One of the all-time greats, a staple in the horror genre, of course.
Yeah, just one of the best. Just classic slasher. I mean, it really is not just a prototype, but a defining genre film. I mean, it really sets slashers to be slashers. It's the first time we get all of the formula rolled into one. An incredible movie. As Skylar has behind him the poster. Skylar, what was your introduction? Is it Halloween? Is it a different movie? Where do you start with your John Carpenter experience?
It was Halloween, indeed. So I definitely, especially nowadays, am a big. I love experiencing movies in the theater for the first time, and Halloween was one that I experienced for the first time in a theater when I was about 12 or 13.
Oh, wow.
Perfect. So yeah, I skipped it when I was like in the DVD phase of horror movies, but my mom took me to a screening at a theater around Halloween, of course. And yeah, it's the atmosphere that gets you. For me, it's the like on the nose acting, but the characters that you still somehow like believe and care for. It just really sells the whole slasher formula with like incredible atmosphere. That's what sold me on Halloween.
A big part of that atmosphere is John Carpenter. Not only is he a great director in this era, but he's always been a great composer. And his music, everyone knows it. You say Halloween, everybody immediately, it's in your head. And he just banged that out on his little keyboard. And to this day has been making amazing scores for most of his films, even the ones that are of the lesser touted. They still have pretty banging scores somehow.
Yeah. He comes from a musical background, and it's kind of how that all began for him.
What about you, Christopher? What's your
I think it's all of us. I don't know how you could not be introduced to John Carpenter without seeing Halloween first. It's just, especially our generation. I'm sure my mom showed it to me around Halloween. It was on TV. She loved horror, and you're going to watch it. And it's like something I feel like a younger, I don't want to say child, but like, maybe you're 9, 10, 11, 12. You can watch it. It's not really that gory. It's not horrific. It is spooky. spooky. It's like this ghost story of the boogeyman, and it scares the shit out of you when you're a kid because you think, he's just going to show up. He's going to open the door and be there in the ghost sheet, and you're going to get, taken out.
I think this is honestly kind of a perfect gateway horror. Of course, like
you
said, Chris, like this isn't something you want to show a kid. Of course, like for anyone who has kids, like Goosebumps or Are You Afraid of the Dark or Gremlins would be like a perfect introductory. I think, like you said, and like Skylar, the age you mentioned, 12, I was probably about 10 or 11 when I first saw this.
Yeah.
This is kind of a perfect introductory to kind of step over that kind of kiddie, hocus pocus, Casper the Friendly Ghost kind of horror adjacent family films and kind of get them into the real horror genre. Because again, like you said, it's not gory, which is funny because like even like non-horror fans, like my mother is not a horror fan, but she loves Halloween. And like whenever the 2018 one was released in theaters, the one where they brought back Jamie Lee Curtis, like my mom, who is not a horror fan, was all excited. And like me and my partner met up with my mom and dad to go see it in theaters just because she loves the original.
I mean, it's a great film. It was way ahead of its time. It took a lot of what was happening in that era and kind of presented it to the perfect generation, the teenager era. It was supposed to be an exploitation film, but it was done at such a high caliber that it really like transcended and became pretty revolutionary of its time. And people tried copying it right after that. I mean, that's when you got Friday the 13th came out very soon afterwards. When you had something like Black Christmas, which came out before this, didn't hit the mark as much. And you just needed that John Carpenter touch to really put it over the edge. And started a whole franchise that made him a ton of money. He's sitting and cashing checks every day, I'm sure.
Playing video games and microwaving burritos.
Yeah.
It's amazing that, I mean, this film really hit, like you said, hit a mark because his first two films, his first film that he did, 1974, his first theatrical release, is a movie called Dark Star, and it's renowned for being the movie that has a beach ball as an alien.
Yeah.
And he's just lucky that he got to make another movie because that movie was rough. I watched it once to really just complete I've seen all of John Carpenter's movies. And there's a beach ball painted red with polka dots. That's the alien.
Yeah.
I watched that for the first time last night, which is funny,
God.
Aaron. I was texting you, Aaron, and I was like, guess what I'm watching right now? And you were like, please tell me it's not Dark State. And I was like, no, but that's next.
Oh, Dark Star.
Dark Star.
Yeah. It's a space movie, and it really tries to show how like mundane space travel can be in like tight quarters, and it's sort of a parody, but I don't know if it's supposed to be funny. Like it's very bizarre.
Yeah.
I laughed not once.
Yeah, not funny, I guess. But he was lucky to get to make another movie. He made Assault on Precinct 13, and this is one of the ones that like starts to be like, okay, John Carpenter's got something going. Have you guys seen Assault on Precinct 13?
Watched it for the first time this morning.
Ooh.
Oh, really? I've seen snippets. I mean, I know a lot about it. It's a movie that I need to watch, especially after watching. I just watched a lot of his films I hadn't seen yet, getting ready for this, and the dynamics he has with race is very intriguing to me, especially in that era. And that's a whole like team up of a black man and a white man in a very interesting circumstances. So
you have a black hero in that film,
Yeah.
which is, you
for the
didn't
time
see
is
except for like blaxploitation films,
right.
Like
Night of the Living Dead was one of the first. Yeah.
Yep,
Right.
Yep.
It's very interesting. It's like watching his movies, you can really tell what kind of guy John is and like what he believes in and how he believes people should be treated and shown off.
It's interesting you say that because, like, when I watched Ghost of Mars, and I was like, who is he rooting for in this movie? Because
Yeah.
again, it's about, he often has police officers as heroes in his movie, but they're righteous. You know, it's a staple of righteousness. But then you get to Ghosts of Mars, and it's like, are they just afraid of people who shop at Hot Topic? Is he just afraid of Marilyn Manson? I don't know. I don't know what this movie's trying to state, and it has some very bizarre. Ghost of Mars is a big miss, but we you know, anyway. Assault on Precinct 13 is awesome. It's you know, people trapped in a police station as gangs attack, and it's very
the zombies attack.
The zombies attack. It is raw Carpenter, and I think it actually has a lot of really cool things going for it. Not a fantastic film, but it's an action, you know, it's exciting for what it is.
Yeah.
But he got to make Halloween a few years later, and that movie ripped. So
Yeah.
Yay, go John Carpenter. He just has a great legacy. I mean, a few years later, he's doing The Fog, which is a lot of fun, and this is our first team up with Tom Atkins, who we did a whole episode on the
Poor sexiest man.
Poor sexiest man. Yeah, we love us some Tom Atkins.
He's not as sexy in The Fog. He doesn't have the mustache.
No.
The mustache is the mustache is the sex appeal factor.
Yes. How big is Tom Atkins' mustache? How do y'all feel about The Fog? Where does this land for you?
I love The Fog. I just rewatched it. I think it's like not the best movie. I really, especially towards the end, it kind of just falls off a cliff. And like learning about it, he kind of knew that it wasn't a solid film, and they tried re-editing it and tried doing reshoots, and I don't think it really stuck the landing ever. But the beginning of that movie is really great, because during the credits, you have like all these ghostly things happening. Meanwhile, the credits are rolling, but like, you know, back in the day, shit didn't usually happen during the credits. It was usually like, you know,
Just
static
words.
shots of, you know, the scenery or, you know, whatever's going on. Nothing's really happening. But this is like chairs are moving and the gas pump's falling out of the holder, and the cars are getting lifted on hydraulic things. And you like, you know, something's afoot. Something's about to go down. It really sets the tone. And there's like barely any music. It's just very eerie. And he carries that through pretty far into the movie. And then I don't know what happened to the script or whatever, but it just literally all of a sudden ends. And you're like, well, okay. All right. I mean, whatever. It's a cool ghost story. It's fun. And the music is really great. He did an amazing score on that. I love the music in that movie. That really sets it for me. The cinematography is great. Another Dean Cundy. We didn't really talk about him for Halloween, but that was one of the first movies to use Steadicam very effectively, especially in the opening scene of Halloween. You have a very long take, which is actually like 3 takes cut together. And for the whole beginning of that movie, uses Dean Cundy again in The Fog, and he just really sets the tone with these very like wide anamorphic shots of all the vistas, and just I don't know how to describe it. It's just really like atmospheric, and The Fog is a character on its own, which he really uses well.
I really like the promise that this movie makes. You know, the setup's great. And it's funny because they remade this movie, and even then couldn't deliver on the promise of there's pirate ghosts in The Fog.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And then they never pull it off. We get some good pirate ghost moments in this. Skylar, have you watched this one, or is this one still on your watch list?
I have seen The Fog. It was not one I rewatched for this, but I probably should have. But from my memory, I would place it in a similar territory as Christine, which I'm sure we'll get to, in that I know a lot of people love it. Not personally my favorite, but you can't go wrong with Dean Cundy. That was the one thing I was going to mention. The cinematography, the atmosphere, absolutely nails it in this one as well.
I just need more pirate ghosts. If you're going to tell me they're in The Fog,
absolutely.
you better show them.
Yeah.
You better show them doing stuff, and we just never get. We never get a real payoff, and that bums me because it's like they're like, we're remaking The Fog, and I was like, sweet, now we're going to get some real pirate action, and they just they don't even pay off on that. I'm like,
to be fair though, it was released during the 2000s remake era, which actually you, Aaron, and Chris, we all talked about that previously. I have not seen it, but I do love the original Fog. Not my favorite Carpenter film, but again, I do love this kind of old fisherman's tall tale coming to life.
It's Jaws with ghosts.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it's a lot
more
of fun.
pirate. We need more pirate ghost movies. I think we're missing out on that. But now we're getting into that like stretch where John Carpenter just kind of has some big hits. Escape from New York comes out, and we create one of the greatest characters in Snake Plissken, who is responsible for multiple video games from Duke Nukem to Metal Gear Solid. Snake is just one of the best characters to be put to screen, and this starts the Kurt Russell, John Carpenter era where they just make a bunch of movies together. And I love this movie because it's so like, even when they're trying to show like computer graphics, they're models that are painted with blacklight paint and actually filmed because they couldn't afford computer graphics. And I'm like, that's a great idea. That's really funny. And it's like, I can't afford to show a helicopter landing, so I'm going to do it in computer vision. And I was like, that's so cool. And of course, Lee Van Cleef, amazing Western actor who's been in everything. He's a great character in this. Ernest Borgnine, Donald Pleasance, Isaac Hayes. I mean, the cast, Harry Dean Stanton, Adrienne Barbeau. This cast is just stellar. And
Or Sexiest Man's in this too.
Right?
You got horror
Tom
sexiest man
Atkins.
Tom Atkins and Hollywood sexiest man Kurt Russell all in one film. How could you not love it?
The Duke of New York. I mean, I love everything that's happening in this movie. It's one of my favorite Carpenter just because of the premise of like we turned the island of Manhattan into a prison, and it's a great storyline. Often stolen. A lot of people have tried to remake this movie in theme or plot only. There was a movie called Lockdown, which was really good, but then they were like, wait a second, that's just Escape from New York in space. And he's like, yeah, but it was good, right? And you're like, yeah, it's fine.
Of course, like one comes to mind is that terrible Steven Seagal Alcatraz film with Ja Rule. That was kind of a rip off of it. I cannot remember the name of it.
Is it Under Siege?
Under Siege?
Is that it? I don't remember.
Steven Seagal Ja Rule movie. Half Past Dead. Steven Seagal in a wave cap does not make him look any harder. I mean, even The Rock is sort of a nod to this. Like, we have to send in this badass, and you have to go take care of him. But then instead of Snake Plissken, they get a nerdy version of Nick Cage, which is hysterical. Like, that's a great premise. Like, you're not the Snake Plissken. We wanted to send the Snake Plissken, but he got sick, so now it's you. Like, this movie is just a huge impact on Hollywood and cinema of that era. What else can I say about it? Anything you guys want to add in for Escape from New York?
I've never seen it. It's on my list. I didn't get to it for this one, which is fine. I'll watch it, but it has been on my list for a while to watch. I know it's supposed to be very good, and of course, we love Kurt Russell for the next movie. I'm sure we'll be talking about. So,
I was just going to skip the thing because we've all seen it. No, I'm kidding.
Okay,
what were you going to say about it?
I'll just say for Escape from New York, I just watched it a couple days ago for the first time, and I really enjoyed it. I didn't expect to necessarily love it because I'm not necessarily a action movie buff, but it was actually less action and more like character driven and really strong, entertaining characters. And it was a really good, entertaining movie with like you said, a really great premise, really great protagonist, and also Donald Pleasance as the president is great in this as well.
I love it. Ernest Borgnine is one of my favorite character actors to pop up, and him as the cabbie in this is like, I love that. It's such a low budget film, and it's amazing what they pulled off with like nothing.
But that's what he's really good at. And then I'm sure as we get along in his films, we'll start talking about the more he has, the less he did, like,
Mhm.
well with. Because all his early films, he really had a small budget. That's why he had to compose his own music for the first few films, is because
Yeah.
they didn't have enough money. So he's like, I can do this. Same thing with editing. He's like, I can do this. Like, I'll just do all this stuff because, like, we need it done, which is like what an auteur really does, and why we really value him as a director. He's really took his creative control to make the best thing he could make with what he had. But then we get
He's
to our later films and things kind of go off the rails, unfortunately.
he was so scrappy, and I think he
Yeah.
was so proud of his ability to do something with nothing. And
Mhm.
then when I think he got something, he also had to contend with the people who give you something,
Right.
expect to have their fingers in that something.
Right.
And so when
Right.
he starts to get into a more studio run system,
Mhm.
producers want to put their little thumbprint on everything. And he rallied against that so hard that I think it exhausted him.
Yeah.
Since I didn't bring it up at the beginning, I have to dip out early, not right now, but in a few minutes, because I'm going to the Silver Scream Fest in Worcester, Massachusetts. Huzzah. I might run into Chaos Manus there. I don't know, but it's a horror
Nice.
convention that happens every year, and I was invited to go, and I said okay. I
Sick.
didn't want it to dip into our time too hard, so I'm glad we have guests to carry the torch. So I'm going to tell this brief story, and it goes along with the movie we're talking about. We're going to talk about The Thing. Me and my roommate at the time, Matt Corrigan, who's my other podcast partner, we went to New York from Boston. We got on the Fenghua bus and drove the 4 hours down. There were chickens on the bus, live chickens. And we get there and we get a ticket. We're like, are there 2 tickets left? Because if you showed up late, they were cheaper. And they said, yeah, but you got to sit up front. We're like, we're fine with that. And we get there and there's 3 seats. And they go, you can't sit in this seat. And we're like, well, man, now we're not sitting together. This is a bummer. So the show starts and we're like, this seat's empty. What the heck? John Carpenter sneaks in, sits down next to me as we watch
Amazing.
Prince of Darkness and The Thing back to back. And the whole time I'm like, ah, ah. And me and my roommate, me and Matt are like high-fiving over John Carpenter, who is so nonplussed to be sitting next to these 2 nerd-ass fanboys. The movie was great. He did a Q&A, and we're right in front, like trying to just talk to him. And we leave, and we're like, that was so cool. We just watched The Thing with John Carpenter. And suddenly we come around the corner, and he's there getting in a cab. We're like, whoa, John Carpenter. So we start talking to him, and then we're like, where are you going? He's like, I'm going uptown. We're like, we're going uptown too. Can we ride with you? No. Gets in the car and drives off. I've met John Carpenter a handful of times. He said maybe 10 words to me, and 5 of them are no.
Amazing. Very John Carpenter.
When we interviewed his wife, Sandy King Carpenter, for Storm King Comics, she does comic books. She produced a lot of his later films. She's very cool too. He's in the background microwaving burritos and getting Amazon packages. And we're like, John Carpenter, what's your favorite Godzilla movie? He's like, I'm not on that podcast. No. Classic John Carpenter.
He's a curmudgeon, man. He's a curmudgeon.
100%. So yeah, 1982, the movie E.T. comes out, and the same weekend,
man.
unfortunately,
Poor
The
John
Thing comes out, and everybody's like, "This movie is terrible." It gets panned critically, but
Yeah.
is now hailed as one of the greatest horror films ever made. Let's dive into it, guys. The Thing.
This,
Bum,
yeah,
bum.
one of my all-time favorite films right here. Just like a lot of his films, very character driven. You get that kind of sense of dread. You kind of get a slow build, get to know the characters before shit just hits the fan. Of course, not horror, but cinema's sexiest man, Kurt Russell, delivers an all-time great performance with one of the greatest all-time characters in any film, R.J. McCready. Yeah, love this film. One of my all-time favorites. Oh my God, I love it.
It's incredible. Skylar, when was the first time you saw this movie?
Visual effects too, like special effects. Some of the best I've ever seen that hold up still to this day. I'm sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, no, absolutely. First of all, that's an awesome story, Aaron, about John Carpenter. But hearkening back to like my Halloween experience, I knew that his other movie, if there is one, it's The Thing. You know, if you're going to ask somebody what's your favorite John Carpenter movie, it's going to be either Halloween or The Thing. So I wanted to see it in theaters. So I knew that it happened every once in a while at a local theater. And so I almost saw it about 3 years ago, and then had an emergency where I had to cancel those plans. And then I was like, it's fine. It plays every year. And I waited 3 years, and it never played until this January. And so I saw it January of this year for the first time in theaters.
Nice.
And yeah, it was worth the wait. Yeah, I'm sure you guys have a lot more to say about it, but yeah, the practical effects, the atmosphere. I think it's Dean Cundy. I wrote it down. Yeah, it's Dean Cundy. Absolutely insane. I would just,
so good.
Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I think this movie. Oh, go for it, Aaron.
Oh, I was going to ask, just so I know, because like I know the kind of stuff that Chase into. Does the ooey gooey monsters in this, is that appealing? Is that something that is like, is that a staple of the genre? Is that something that you like, Skylar? Is the ooey gooey kind of like, take it or leave it? It's cool because of the practical side. How do you feel about that?
Depends on the film. Like there's some films where I feel like that kind of stuff's necessary. The Thing is one of them. The only thing I have a hard time is with the dogs, the scene with the dogs as an animal lover and as a parent to 4 cats. Like anything with dogs or cats, like in horror films getting harmed, I have a hard time with, but everything else, like incredible. Like, and again, it just with the ooey gooey stuff, like it just depends on the setup on the film.
What about you, Skylar? How are you with ooey gooey?
I think I've really come around to it in the last like 5 years. I didn't used to be super big on, ooey gooey gore fests or body horror, but nowadays I think I'm starting to explore those genres a bit more, and I'm into it. And especially The Thing, I think it is used perfectly and executed 100%. Perfectly.
Highlight it is a peak. I mean, with The Substance last year, we really got another good entry into this and done really well and really exposing people to this sort of drippy side of the genre. Chris, you dig it?
Yeah, I mean, I think if we're really talking about this film at length, you could have a whole podcast about this film. To be honest, it's a masterclass in atmosphere and dread and paranoia, and at the time of this film was the AIDS epidemic was rampant, and this is very tonally in that vein. It was who has it, who doesn't, how do we find out, how do we know who's safe, am I going to get it just by being around this person? It's very interesting how John always kind of weaves in his political ideas into his films. I mean, in the early stages, especially when he really had the opportunity. The ooey gooey, though, the special effects in this movie are phenomenal, and I think it really set a tone for the people who actually cared about special effects in the industry back then. I know, E.T. came out literally the same time as this film, and the public wanted that cutesy, feel-good movie. It was the 80s. They were trying to feel good about stuff because, Reagan was president and everybody's happy, joy, even though that's not what was going on in the world. And The Thing was not what that was about. The Thing was dread and paranoia and who's safe, who's not. How do I survive this apocalypse that's impending upon us? And John did such a great job. It's really unfortunate it came out when it did, because I think if it came out either a little before or a little after, it might have really launched his career through the stratosphere compared to, he's a very well-established director, but I think it could have really took him into a whole new direction. But the movie's phenomenal. I think that the script is so tight. And then doing some research for this film or for our podcast, they got put on hold. Their whole shooting schedule got put on hold for weeks. So he had really time to tinker and really get down into the details of the script, which is why it's so tight. And I think it's why it's one of the best, in my opinion, his best movie out of his all of his films.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree. This is my favorite Carpenter film too. Just it just epitomizes what like really a horror film and a sci-fi film should
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
Especially something with this dark subject matter. And again, like we did mention, it came out literally around the same time as E.T.
Yeah.
And because of that, it flopped at the box office.
I think it was literally the same summer, like the same couple of weeks.
And of course, around that time, E.T. I think might have held the record for
No, yeah, it was the highest
film of all time.
Yeah.
Which would later, I think, be beaten by Jurassic Park. But yeah, I'm glad it came around because this is really, to me, why physical media is important, because it came around and got popular again because of video rental stores and VHS sales and stuff like that, which we really don't get a lot of now in this age of streaming. It's basically, we've mentioned on the show before, now you just have opening weekend to make an impact and that's it, or the first few days on streaming to make an impact and that's it, which is very, very unfortunate.
Or you have to really touch a chord and get the word of mouth, kind of like The Substance did, because once that caught speed, it really took off, and but that's such a rarity that doesn't really happen.
Yeah, you don't really see that. Like The Substance was one of those, I remember seeing it opening day in theaters. Yeah. And just going to like a nearly empty theater with probably maybe 5 other people, like on a Friday night. And then I went and saw it again when they re-released it in January, when it started getting all this award buzz and Oscar buzz. And it was an almost full theater. Then I went to see it again like the very next week and took my aunt, who's not a horror fan. She just wanted to see it just because she was hearing all this acclaim it was getting. And that was a sold out theater. And you don't really get that anymore. And
I mean, what you did was what they were doing for E.T. and not The Thing back then. And, you know, they took their mom and they took their kids, and then everyone kept on going to watch E.T. And you see something like The Thing where you have a monster's stomach opening and somebody's hands getting chomped off. I don't think you really want to see that when you can go watch a nice, pretty story about an extraterrestrial and a kid. You know.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love E.T. Like my partner will tell you, like, that's one of his favorite movies, and he laughs at me because I cry like a bitch at the end of it every time. It just hits me in the feels. But yeah, John Carpenter's The Thing is just a masterpiece. And then
unfortunately, it really ruined his career because he could not get a job after that for a hot minute.
Very sad. And of course, his next 2 films were not horror films. Of course, we have Starman, which is a science fiction romantic drama starring one of my favorite actors, Jeff Bridges. Surprisingly, I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet. It's been on my list. It's supposed to be great.
You neither, Skylar?
I have not seen it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which I think Jeff Bridges did receive an Oscar nomination for. Let me fact check that. But
it was supposed to be a good movie. It's supposed to be a really good movie.
Which I hear a lot of people say that's like one of their favorite Jeff Bridges movies.
Oh, interesting. I think it's playing one of his first films. So.
What were you going to say, Skylar? Sorry for interrupting you.
I was just looking at something about John Carpenter's box office. I believe this one is the one that is the second most grossing at the box office, which I found surprising. But I guess that's
Starman.
The genre. Yeah.
Wow.
Because his genre is more of a wide appeal.
Yeah.
And then, of course, after that, we would get the action comedy Big Trouble in Little China. Again, another collaboration with Kurt Russell, which I know is a big box office flop, has a big cult following now. This is one I haven't seen. Have either one of you seen this?
Oh, really? Skylar?
I have not gotten around to this one.
Okay.
Okay, I've seen this movie a few times, and I feel like I'm on the outside looking in from everyone who loves this movie. I've tried watching. I mean, I've watched it. I like it. I think it's a fun schlock. It's like watching Looney Tunes in movie form. I just feel like John, it's not tight enough. Things just keep happening in the movie. Like you watch it, you'll understand. The movie just goes. Like it starts and it does not stop. The plot just goes, and it doesn't care if you're paying attention or not. It will introduce new things all the time. The special effects in it. If you like special effects, this is a fantastic movie to watch for like practical special effects. Like it's kind of gross, but not really. It's like watching a Looney Tune. It's very like bombastic with its special effects. But the whole idea is that Kurt Russell's in it. He's the main guy in the poster, but he takes a backseat the whole time. He's the side character. You have this movie that takes place in San Francisco, in Chinatown, and he's a truck driver, and he's betting with this guy, and the guy that he's playing cards with ends up being the main character. I believe he's a Chinese man, Asian man. The beautiful thing that I liked when I just rewatched this is that all of the Asian characters in this movie don't have an accent. They're all American. They all speak just like, normal Asian American people. And they happen to be the driving force of the whole film. And it's kind of like these characters take Kurt Russell, which is kind of like us, the audience, down this shaft of hell of Chinese lore. And you just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. And Kurt Russell's like, what the hell is going on? And you're like, what the hell is going on the whole time? And it's fun. Like if you can turn your brain off and not really, I just get mad that the story's not tight enough. And some of the action, I don't think John's the biggest action guy. I don't think he really knows how to film action as well as his drama and his characters and the atmosphere, which we've talked about. But it's fun. It's hokey. It's schlocky. It's just like a cartoon pretty much. The music's ridiculous. The sets are ridiculous. The characters are ridiculous. The acting, it's all just ridiculous fun. But it's just, I don't know, it just doesn't do it for me. It's fine. I do recommend watching it. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it. It's an interesting watch.
I'm gonna have to watch it now. One thing that you said that was very refreshing to hear was about the Asian characters, because especially a lot of films around that time and before that, you didn't get really Asian characters who were just everyday people. They were very much kind of offensive stereotype caricatures around that time. So that's very refreshing here. So I screwed up on something after The Thing. Let's take it back a few years before Big Trouble in Little China.
I was going to call you out on that. Yeah, it's Christine.
Yeah, I have this filmography like before.
It's all good.
Fuck. And Skylar, of course, you mentioned it earlier. Of course, we're talking about Christine, which he directed, which is an adaptation of a Stephen King novel. I really enjoy this film, of course, about a haunted car, which is really cool. That kind of takes over a nerdy boy who kind of becomes obsessed with it, and it changes his whole personality. And he becomes more, where he starts out as humble and friendly and just this nice guy, he becomes an asshole. Let's go around the table here. Skylar, what was your first introduction to Christine? What are your thoughts? What do you love about it?
All right. So Christine, I watched for the first time last night. So it's like I mentioned earlier, it's not one of my favorite Carpenter films. It is very heavy on the atmosphere and obviously the Stephen King concept of the car killer is great. And those scenes where the car gets to kill are pretty worth the price of admission. But I thought it was interesting. I like how he turns into like a 50s greaser asshole, like just that specifically.
Total douchebag.
Yeah. And I definitely need to rewatch it a little bit. It was not my favorite. I'll let you guys lead the way on Christine.
Yep. Chris, same question. What was your first introduction to this? What do you love about it? Where is it ranked for you on your John Carpenter?
I'm gonna say it's not the highest for me. I think it's really cool. Same. I do think it's a cool concept. The music's really great. Something else I was in research for this was the reason I think we don't like it as much, if you're like a really big John Carpenter horror fan, is that he toned down the horror because of how bad The Thing did at the box office. The feedback that he got back from that movie was it was too horrific, it was too gory, it was too just in your face. So instead, because they didn't want a PG rating, because they didn't have PG-13 back then, they threw in a shitload of swear words. So there's tons of F-bombs all over the place in this movie where it kind of doesn't really make sense. And you kind of, I think you lose interest in the characters because they stop feeling like real. And it's just because of how aggressive the cursing is. It's just like everywhere because they needed to get that R rating, or else no one was, your horror fans weren't going to go watch it. And I think it just loses kind of touch with what it was trying to do. I think the atmosphere's cool. I think the beginning opening scene is really great. I think that's a fun scene. And I kind of wish there was a little more to it. I will say also, Stephen King hates this movie. He ranks it alongside with The Shining as, his ranking of his favorite adaptations of his film, which, he hates The Shining. So I think, in that regard, you kind of understand why maybe it wasn't as good as it could have been. But again, it was good. Like, it's fun. I like what they did with the music and the radio and how it like always kind of tied into what Christine was doing to the other characters. And they had the twist on the guy, how he slowly descends into madness, obsessing over this car or getting possessed, perhaps. Is fun. It's a great idea. But I don't know. Again, when I watched a lot of these Carpenter movies, I started realizing the more Carpenter has to play with, I think the less impactful he does with it. Like if you look at Halloween and The Thing, he has very minimal locations and very minimal, he's not stretching the plot too thin. It's very condensed and focused. And like Christine, it starts like meandering all over the place, and there's like love interests and this and that. It's just like
that's where I kind of think a lot of problems is with especially bigger films like this. I think when you limit someone's resources, not too much, but enough to where it kind of forces them to get creative with the resources that.
Well, I think it was you or Aaron said he's scrappy, and like that's
right
kind of guy he is.
Yeah, and I think with something like Halloween, which I think was only made for like $500,000,
300,000.
Oh shit! I didn't realize it was that low. It forces a director to kind of get creative and use the resources that they have, like use maybe some kind of camera shots that, they wouldn't have thought of had, they had that money available to them. And same thing with The Thing. Like, you have state-of-the-art special effects because of his limited resources. And again, it's a problem, I think, a lot.
Well, I don't think Dean Cundy was the director of photography on this movie. I don't know if someone wants to double check that. I'm pretty sure.
I'll look.
I don't know if he was, because it really does make a difference. Like watching a Dean Cundy John Carpenter movie and watching a John Carpenter movie with some other DP, like I just watched Vampires. It doesn't look the same. Yeah, good gosh. Jeez. We'll get there, but like
we'll get there.
They don't look the same. The atmosphere isn't there. Like
this one he usually works with this other, or not usually, but his other like main cinematographer he works with is Gary B. Kidd. But Christine isn't either of them. It's Donald M. Morgan. So that probably
it's just not the same. It's just not the same.
A little off.
And again, I think that's kind of a problem with a lot of major studio films now, is that now they're like, oh, we're gonna throw $200 million at you, like, and I think it's just over bloated budgets, and that's why you're seeing so many big budget flops now. And I think if studios limit the resources filmmakers have for certain things, I think it forces them to get creative and makes for a better film. And I think that honestly kind of goes back to John Carpenter. We're going to get there, but his later work, I think that kind of hurt a lot of his later films.
Yeah.
But let's go back to a great film. Let's move up in time a little bit. 1988, one of my all-time favorite films. If you had to ask me what my top 3 John Carpenter films would be, The Thing's number 1. Halloween is going to surprise a lot of you. Halloween would be number 3. Number 2 is They Live.
Fantastic
a film which
film.
I have seen many times. I love this film so much. I think it's probably in my top 10 favorite films of all time.
Wow.
Yeah, I absolutely love this. I've seen it so many times. Let's go around the table. Ask, has everyone here seen this? Okay, so let's go around the table. I'm gonna start with you this time, Chris. First introduction to it. What are your thoughts? Where is it ranked for you? What do you love about it? I
can't remember my first introduction. Probably a long time. I worked at Blockbuster Video a long time ago, so I'm sure I rented it back then and watched it with my friend Isaac, who showed me, like, really introduced me to horror. I'm sure we watched this, but I rewatched it again for last night for the first time in a long time, because I knew what it was about, and I felt like it was very applicable to what we've been dealing with right now in our society. And watching it, I was like, holy shit, like, this is such a good film for our times right now. Like, the the message there is so clear. It's so in your face. I mean, it's just very John Carpenter. You can tell he's a very liberal person and very anti Reagan establishment back then, because that's what this movie came out in '88, which is like the peak of Reaganomics,
which I think he did,
and the effects. And the effects it was having,
his unhappiness with the Reagan presidency, for sure.
And it's Roddy Piper crushing it. And I mean, I think one of the better wrestler actors we've ever had, like, way better than Hulk Hogan. I don't know how that guy had a better career than this guy, because Roddy, man, this and Hell Comes to Frogtown. I don't know if you guys seen that, but they are great Roddy Piper movies. But this movie's fantastic. I mean, I think if you have any feelings about what's happening in society today, and like what we're dealing with the administration and the things that have been going on, definitely should watch this movie if you haven't seen it. It might open your eyes to some things that we're being told and fed daily, especially through social media. They found a new way to control us. They don't need television broadcast anymore. They just use us on our phones now. But you guys continue.
Yeah, Skylar, same thing. Yeah. What was your first introduction? What do you love about it? Where is this rank for you?
Yeah, so I was introduced to this one in film school, and then I rewatched it last week. Just as relevant 5 years ago, whenever I first saw it, as it is now. Just as relevant as it was in '88, just as relevant as it was in '98. Like,
which is unfortunate, by the way. That sucks that it's still relevant.
It is unfortunate, but it is changed.
It's got worse.
Yes,
indeed. But it is a relevant film ever since, and I think its message is so in your face, obvious, but powerful, and really, really, really extremely well communicated with the sequences when he puts on the glasses, with how the aliens look, with the all black and white, with the billboards. And this one was a Gary B. Kidd as the DP. So
and you could tell the style is so John Carpenter. It feels more like along his lines of atmosphere. Really quick, Jason, it's funny, I was watching it last night, and there's a scene where two cops, it's like right when what's his name, Jack Crow,
John Nada.
John, sorry, I'm getting confused with vampires, because I just watched that. He gets confronted by two police officers who are aliens actually, and there's a whole fight sequence, and one of the cops looks so familiar, and I'm watching the credits, and it says blonde-haired cop Norman Howell, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I used to work on Brooklyn Nine-Nine for 5 seasons or something like that, and our stunt coordinator was Norman Howell, and I was like, no fucking way.
No way.
I was laughing. I was like, holy shit, like, because he used to act. I knew he used to be an actor / stuntman, and now he just does the stunt coordinating. But I was like, holy shit, it's Norm. It was great. It was great to see him in a movie.
You had a Buddy the Elf moment. I know him. Him.
It was really funny. It was really funny.
But my first introduction to this was when I was a teenager. Again, I'm 35, so I kind of grew up during the Bush administration during my teen years.
I'm the old man here. Thanks.
Hey, I'm not far behind you. So, but it was one of those I caught, I think on like AMC, the channel, not the theater.
Right.
During their month-long October where they just show nothing but horror and thriller films. I happened to catch it because one, I'm a huge professional wrestling fan.
Yes.
And I was just happened to just check to see what's on. I was like, oh shit, that's Roddy Piper. Like,
Yeah.
But it's one of those, it didn't really hit me the meaning of it until I watched it when I got older, especially got into the workforce, kind of started experiencing stuff. And yeah, I rewatched this, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday. And yeah, it unfortunately is still just as relevant.
Jesus.
As it is as it was back in 1988. And it was just like, I was watching it just like, holy shit. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on in this film that's still going on today. Like,
it's crazy. It's really crazy, like how prevalent and ahead of, I mean, I wouldn't say it's ahead of its time because it was happening then, but I don't think people were as aware of it happening then. It was kind of like that's not real. Like that's not, I still have free will. I can still kind of like think for myself. And now with social media, I mean, we're conditioned to have predisposed thoughts of the people we follow, and the For You page you get every day. It's, you live in your own little bubble, and this is kind of pointing that out, that you're obeying and consuming, and for what reasons, to what ends is this justifying means. It's kind of crazy. But also the music in this movie, if we want to go back to that, is so good. That opening scene with Roddy just strutting into town. He's just walking in like a cowboy, and you have this slow harmonica bass riff, and you know this guy's a badass. Like he's walking across the railroad tracks, and then we meet our other co-star. I don't know what's his name in the film. Yeah, but I mean, I can't remember his name. But again, another awesome play of race, and I don't mean that in like they're using it against each other. I feel like John is really good and adept at like making race not a thing, and like for his characters, like they're not paying attention to that. But if you look at the subtext, it was interesting. I was watching it, and Roddy Piper is really trying to make it in America. He believes in America, and Keith, he does not believe in America. He's a black man and knows that it's gonna stomp on his fucking face if he gets out of line. It doesn't walk the straight white line, as he says in the movie. If he doesn't walk that line, he's going to get cast to the side. It's going to be a lot harder for him to start all over again for his family. And Roddy Piper's like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. Like, I'm just going to do whatever I want because I'm a white, like he doesn't even realize, like, I'm a white dude and I have white privilege. And again, he just walks around like his shit don't stink and kills whoever he wants. He doesn't care. And it takes a whole knockout brawl in the streets just to get Keith to look at the fucking sunglasses to see what's actually going on. And once he does, his eyes are open. He's like, okay, I'm on your side too. Like, let's do this together, which is really cool. I mean, it's just really, really interesting seeing this kind of stuff that was done in the 80s that just now, like in our 2025, which is funny because that's when they say, I don't know if you guys remember, but it says in 2025, that's when they're going to have total control over Earth, all the aliens. Wow. And I was like, holy shit, no way. Wild. They foresaw it. 2025 is when it's all going to coalesce.
I'm going to have to rewatch that movie now for that line.
Oh, yeah, dude. I was like, holy shit.
But before we get to the next film, Skylar, I think you had something you wanted to say.
Yeah, I was just going to say that in terms of the music of this film, I watched, and also how prevalent both of these films are to this moment, I watched Escape from New York a couple days ago, and then that same day I rewatched They Live. Thematically, you can say what you want. They're all very poignant to the moment, but obviously Escape from New York is a bit more comedic. But I really like the scores on both of those films. Obviously, I like all of the scores, but in Escape from New York, it was like, it's a different genre than horror, so there's more like electric guitars. It's more fun. And there's a very similar score to that in They Live, and I wrote it down as well. It's a collaboration between him and I believe he's a composer and sound designer that he collaborates with frequently.
Alan Howarth.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So
So
funny thing about Alan. Continue, Skylar, and I'll chime in.
I definitely recommend a double feature of those two movies. Is what I'm trying to say.
So I was at a horror con last year with Block of Horror, and we're setting up and getting ready for the day's festivities, and I start hearing the soundtrack to Halloween 2 being played, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Because I know this music, like John Carpenter music, John Carpenter movie music is in my head, and then I look over and I see this old dude on the stage, like doing rehearsal, sound check, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? And I find out that it's Alan Howarth, and he was doing a live show at HorrorCon, and he did a whole like compilation of all of the movies he worked on with John, and he did Escape from New York, he did They Live, he did Halloween 2. He did a bunch of John, like the movies he worked on with John Carpenter. And watching the movies, you'll see his name in the credits. It's just John Carpenter with Alan Howarth. And the dude was totally cool. Totally would chat with you. You could pick his brain. He's a very intelligent dude. It was so good to watch him live. Like, he really banged it out. I felt bad because like the crowd there was more like Gen Z and didn't really know John Carpenter movies, or maybe just Halloween. That was it. But I was like rocking out. I was like, this is like a privilege to witness. And like, no one understands like how amazing this is, because the dude's like in his 60s, if not like older. And like, you're not going to have these kind of people around for too long. Like, you should really appreciate what you're hearing and witnessing.
And by the way, he's born in 1948. So he's up there in age. Ooh.
Yeah. He's doing great though. He's on stage crushing it, dude.
Yeah, good on it.
Hell yeah. Now the next film in John Carpenter's filmography. Another fuck up. So let's go back a year, because this came out a year prior. I was so eager to talk about They Live.
It's all good. It's all good.
So year prior, we have Prince of Darkness, another John Carpenter, Donald Pleasance collab. Around the table, has everyone seen this one?
Have not.
I watched it this morning.
You just watched it this morning. Okay,
yeah,
Skylar, what's your impression on this one?
All right, hold up. Yeah, let me get my thoughts straight. Yeah. Okay, so I woke up early this morning. I only had time for one more movie. I was going back and forth. I hadn't seen Assault on Precinct 13. I knew so much about Assault on Precinct 13 that I leaned towards this one because I knew next to nothing about it. And I think that's a good choice. I'm definitely going to watch Assault on Precinct 13. But Prince of Darkness, I believe somehow he's referenced it as a thematic trilogy between The Thing, Prince of Darkness, In the Mouth of Madness. So I had seen the bookends and I was missing the middle piece. And I love this movie. It definitely surprised me. The first two acts, I think, like 10 out of 10. The characters, John Carpenter characters, like to the T, but there's even more of them. Like, there's a lot of characters in it, but you still feel like you know each of them individually. And yeah, when shit starts to go down, it's a lot of fun. But the third act, I don't know. I'm definitely gonna rewatch it. I'm definitely gonna, feels like one I'll like more on each rewatch. And I honestly loved it on the first watch.
Yeah, this is again not my favorite, but I do enjoy the film. Again, I love the performances. I love the atmosphere. I love the visual effects, especially the liquid vial that's supposed to be the embodiment of Satan. I think that is a cool visual. But again, it's one of those, I think it's going to be, the more I rewatch it, the more I'll end up loving it. And Chris, you said you have not seen this one yet.
I haven't. It's on the list. I know. Nice. I didn't get to it.
It's okay.
He has a lot of movies, all right. He has a lot
of movies. It's not like the first director series that me and Aaron did a couple weeks ago, where we did the Filippo brothers, and that's 2 films.
Much more manageable than 20 or however many John has.
36-year career.
Yeah. Jesus.
The next one would be Memoirs of an Invisible Man. Has either one of you seen this one?
I skipped
Okay,
this for sure.
This
Chevy
this is
Chase,
when,
get out of here.
yeah, I don't.
But
like
this is
Chevy
where he
Chase,
met
but
Sam Neill. So like, this is where we go into our next movie. I'm
next
gonna
film.
guess.
So, all right, so yeah, we're gonna skip Memoirs of an Invisible Man because I didn't care to watch it because I think this is where it kind of goes downhill.
Well, they all say that In the Mouth of Madness was his last good film, which is I think we can all concur on that one.
1994, we get In the Mouth of Madness. Have both of you seen this?
Yeah.
All
Yes.
right. Yeah, Chris, let's start with you.
Oh, why don't
First
you guys
introduction.
start? I'll let you guys start.
Yeah, Skylar, go ahead, start.
All right. So, yeah, in the Madness, it's like you take John Carpenter, you take, what's it called?
H.P. Lovecraft.
Yes,
Yeah.
you take H.P. Lovecraft, you take John Carpenter, you take Stephen King, put it in a blender, and it's
pretty much.
I wanted to watch it again for this so I could have more fresh thoughts, but I really liked it when I first watched it a year or two ago, and it reminds me a lot of Argento's Tenebrae, obviously.
Interesting.
Centered around an author, and they do different things with it for sure, but it's a lot. I think I could do more thinking and make more thematic parallels, but yeah, I really enjoyed this one and plan on rewatching it very soon.
Yeah, Chris, what are your thoughts?
To say this is confusing is an understatement, because
Yeah,
it's
for
a very it's dense and complex, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? But you like it the whole time you're watching it. You're like, okay, this is interesting. I'm intrigued. Like, what is real? What is not real? The horror in it is very Lovecraftian, and the special effects are really wild and weird and otherworldly. Sam Neill's great in it. You really identify with him because he doesn't know what the fuck's going on, and he's very like what's the word? He just doesn't believe what he's hearing or seeing. He's just always just like, I don't think that's what's really happening. But as he gets deeper into the Mouth of Madness, he just goes, I guess we're fucked. I guess this was actually all real, and he was really I'm gonna want to spoil it all, but yeah, it's a very bizarre film, and I really think it needs another rewatch by probably anybody who's ever seen it and just kind of goes, I don't like it. Like, you need to watch it again with all the information you have after watching it the first time to start going, oh shit, okay. Is it a perfect film? No. The first two acts are great, and then it kind of, again, I think John has a habit of losing it in the third act when there's too much going on. But atmospheric is great. Like, the atmosphere is great. The music's cool. The acting's great. I mean, there's not too much to complain about, really. It's just, it could have been a little tighter and a little more spelled out. Like, but you don't want to force feed your audience. But I mean, it's just a little dense.
Yeah. Again, it is very confusing because there is a lot going on. And like you said, there's so much going on, and Sam Neill's character doesn't believe this is real because, of course, he has to travel to find the author, Sutter Kane. He's assisted with Sutter Kane's editor, and even he's like, this is a setup. Y'all are just fucking with me.
Yeah, that whole scene, dude. That one scene is such a great scene. I mean, that's probably some of the best one of his best scenes ever in all of his films is just that guy walking towards you with the axe, and you're like, the fuck's this dude about to do? Like, what's going on? Who is that guy? Yeah, do you read Sutter Kane?
The eyes, and yeah, it's a mind fuck for sure. It's definitely one of those you're gonna have to watch a lot to understand it.
Yeah,
to kind of grasp what's going on. But yeah, I do.
And the special effects are really wild. I mean, the chick walking upside down or walking backwards, like doing an exorcist walk with the face, and all the monsters chasing him in the tunnels, and
the creepy mutilated kids, and
oh yeah, with the dog, they eat a dog's leg. And there's the crazy lady with the axe, and it's just it's a shit show of horror, like literally just horrificness. in movie form. It's wild. It's like I think it's like one of the best like Lovecraftian stories. I'm not a big Lovecraftian fan, so it was really wild to watch that film though, and know what it was kind of based on. Apparently all the books that are like in Sutter Kane's whatever are references to Lovecraft stories, which I didn't know about until doing research for this.
I didn't know that either, but yeah, I really enjoy this film. It is one of those you need to watch several times in order to understand. Yeah. You got Sam Neill delivering one of my favorite performances of his, and yeah, unfortunately, well,
before we move on, but Skylar, as you said, this is like the trilogy of the Apocalypse trilogy, because The Thing was potentially the end of the world. If The Thing gets out, it will. I think it said it had 27,000 hours till it would take over the entire Earth when they do the computer calculations. If The Thing got loose, and then we have Prince of Darkness. Which I haven't seen, but I know that's about the end of the world and Satan taking over. And then you have In the Mouth of Madness, which is the Lovecraftian monsters taking over the world, which they
aliens, the devil, and monsters.
Right.
In terms of what causes the apocalypse, I suppose.
Yeah. And then we move on. Then we go downhill.
Jesus Christ. Of course, next we have Village of the Damned. Has anyone seen this?
I saw this so long ago, long ago.
I know it stars Christopher Reeve and Kirstie Alley.
You're not missing much.
Okay, I know it has the blonde children
slow,
with the glowy eyes.
It's slow. That's one thing we haven't mentioned about Carpenter. He takes his time with his movies, which I think was great in the beginning. I think he really knew what he was doing. I don't know if he got tired and just older or whatever, but like things start getting so slow. But this movie is just kind of whatever. I mean, it's like Children of the Corn, but different. It's just...
I'd just rather watch Children of the Corn, honestly.
I don't even like that
great. Yeah.
I watched neither.
Yeah, you're not missing out.
Then, of course, after that, we have Escape from LA, which I refuse to watch because I've heard that's very bad.
Schlock. I haven't seen it either. I haven't seen those either. I would like to watch both New York and LA. Do a little double feature and see how 10 years changes things.
Yeah, which I will not watch because I don't want Escape from New York to be ruined for me. Skylar, have you seen Escape from LA? Or no?
No, the most recent Carpenter film I've seen is Prince of Into the Mouth of Madness.
Oh, okay. That was the last good one. So you're not missing out.
When I was rewatching stuff, I made sure to fill in the blanks before that.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah. And then after that, 1998, we have Vampires, which, funny story, Sunday I went into a secondhand store.
Yeah.
I messaged you, Chris, and I was like,
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that was your response. I was like, yeah, it's only $4. Might as well grab it. And you were like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Hey.
So I watched this. I don't necessarily think it's bad, but it's extremely, extremely, extremely mediocre.
Yeah. Well, you know what's keep going.
Oh, no, you go ahead. No, you go ahead.
So I watched this for the first time like today. Okay. And knowing what I know of John Carpenter, all the research I was doing, the more I watched it, the more I realized James Woods is John Carpenter killing vampires. He's just this crotchety, middle-aged dude who just hates everybody, doesn't give a fuck, he's a complete asshole, and he's just killing vampires. I felt like it was just John just putting himself in a movie and just being like, all right, this is what I would do. Because like it's not good. It's really not good. The characters don't make sense. Like fucking Daniel Baldwin, with the shit he's doing with the
horrible.
Well, not just a bad actor, but what he's doing with the girl that they say, it's like these two dudes are supposed to be like some badass vampire hunters, and the guy gets bit by some chick, like just with like there's no common sense here by the characters. It just doesn't make any sense. They're supposed to be like, tested vampire hunters that know how to do this. They do this like all the time. They go and like take down nests of vampires all the time, and somehow they're just getting killed off left and right. And it's like, what is going on?
And he thinks he can work with this woman. Like, yeah, you can help us, right? I'm gonna untie you right now.
Yeah. Let me just untie you. Yeah, exactly. Like what?
Yeah.
And then he sets his arm. Loves lighting his fucking. Anytime he gets a wound, he lights it on fire. I was like, what's wrong with this guy? And then James Woods is just like he has no agency. He's no Kurt Russell. Like, and that's why it really felt to me like it was John Carpenter casting someone who he felt resembled himself, because they kind of do look a little bit alike. Like they're these angry white guys that are just kind of like don't care about anything and are just assholes and just do whatever they want.
Yeah, this is kind of like really James Woods at this point in his career and John Carpenter at this point in his career kind of paralleled each other, because they were both kind of like at the tail end of like their peak. Of course, James Woods hasn't really done much.
Well, James Woods is notorious for being very difficult to work with on set. Yeah. And supposedly him and John got along like two peas in a pod. So that's why I was like, this guy had to be like John if they got along so well. Because John apparently let him improvise scenes and would use a lot of those takes just because he was like, oh yeah, that's great. And I've never heard of John ever in any other movie letting people improvise so freely as James Woods. So that's where my take was. I was like, this is just John living out this Western vampire movie that's been rattling around in his brain for years, and he has the money, so why not? And again, the movie looks like shit, in my opinion. This is no Dean Cundy making this thing look cool and atmospheric. I don't know if you guys have seen Nightbreed, but this is no Nightbreed. Yeah. Not even close. Because it's kind of similar, but different. Very different. Jesus.
See, I'm not a big fan of Nightbreed, but I do love the atmosphere.
The atmosphere, no, I agree with you. The movie's kind of whatever, but the atmosphere is really great, and like the tones is just like it knew what it wanted to be. It just didn't do it that great. This movie doesn't really know what it's even trying to do.
No, and again, like you said, it's kind of like just John Carpenter's like, hey, James Woods, you're an asshole like me. Dude. Let's team up and do a movie.
I mean, listen, like what Aaron said, how many words John said to him, and most of them been no.
Yeah, so. No. And then, of course, moving on from that, 2001, Ghost of Mars.
Yeah,
God damn it.
I didn't waste my time.
I watched it.
Aaron, I'm so sorry.
Aaron absolutely hated it. Skylar, have you seen this one?
No, I have not. And
don't watch it.
You're very smart.
I don't think I'd heard of it until research for this podcast. Yeah.
It's bad.
It's terrible. I mean, it has a decent cast. You have Pam Grier, Jason Statham, Natasha Henstridge, a man who was in my favorite film of the year, from War of the Worlds, Ice Cube.
So good.
It's absolutely terrible, and it's a shame because I love Pam Grier. And this was like literally after Jackie Brown, which was kind of like her resurgence in popularity.
Isn't Bruce Campbell in it too?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. I watched this last night, and I kind of checked out.
I don't blame you. The movie just is like awful. It's not. I haven't seen it. I've seen things about it, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this shit?
It's really.
But again, that's where like if you really learn about who John Carpenter is, like he doesn't care. Like once he doesn't care, you can tell he just doesn't give a shit. And I think the studio, the studio business that he started having to work with, because all of his earlier films that we talked about were very independently financed. where he had a lot of creative control and could bring in the people he wanted to work on the films. And as he progressed, unfortunately, Hollywood progressed in a very different direction, and he had to work with that. And that's why he does not make movies anymore, is because he doesn't want to have to deal with that shit. And he'd rather just make music how he wants to do it. And he sells out concerts all the time. So like the dude knows what he wants, and you can tell like when he's not working with the things he wants to do, he turns out shit movies. So
oh, absolutely. And then of course, speaking of shit movies, we get to his final film, 2010's The Ward. I watched this on Sunday in preparation for this. Skylar and Aaron, have either of you watched this? Whether it be in preparation. Skylar, you haven't. Aaron, I mean,
not.
Chris, you have you?
I saw it a long time ago, but it's like such not a, doesn't stay with you. Like I don't, psych ward chick, crazy. Like
Yeah,
I don't, that's about it.
Generic psych ward horror film, paranormal horror film, and it's easily my least favorite John Carpenter film.
It's such a, I mean, I want to say it's sad, but it's just so noticeable when you're watching someone like John Carpenter's movies to see how drastically they don't feel like John Carpenter movies anymore. Like it just doesn't feel like him. And you have no idea.
And really, it's not just him, but I would say the three big horror filmmakers around the time they all got started: John Carpenter, Wes Craven, and Tobe Hooper. And it's like their careers are kind of the tale of two halves, where the first half they're just making these all-time classics, and then towards the end it just
well, I think that's it's like that for any artist, right? When you're making stuff for art's sake and because you want to, you usually produce your best stuff. And when you kind of get into a more corporate, you're doing it for someone else for some other reasons, you usually don't turn out good stuff. There are a few people that will do that, but it usually is kind of few and far between. You're not going to have banger after banger unless you're doing it because you really want to. Absolutely. And it's so evident. I don't understand why Hollywood doesn't understand that as a system, as a platform. Maybe they're going to start, since the lower budget movies are doing really, really, really well now. And the bigger budget movies are not doing so. No, they're losing a shit ton of money, and it's changing the whole game. But who knows? I mean, we'll see where cinema ends up in the next 20 years. If it's even around. I will say, I think though, with those three directors, I think Wes Craven had a little bit of a better run, because in the 90s, he kind of had a career rejuvenation with Scream. He directed the first four. And then even then, after Scream 3 ended, even when he was making terrible stuff like Cursed and My Soul to Take, he still had Red Eye. And even though it wasn't successful and critically loved at the time, his final film, Scream 4, which later on, again, I remember seeing that in theaters in my early 20s and people didn't like it. I know, like Skylar, I know you're significantly younger than all of us, so I'm sure probably by the time you got around to watching it, it was already kind of beloved by a younger audience. Maybe.
I'd say by the time, like between Scream, the long period of time between Scream 4 and 5, I still would say that Scream 4 had a bit of a bad reputation. And I wasn't my favorite, and still isn't my favorite, but it is a good film as an entire whole.
But yeah, so yeah, that's all of John Carpenter's films. we did it. So yeah, now of course The Ward was his final film. Like Chris mentioned, now he's making music and selling out shows. And he's great. He's a fucking amazing composer. Like he knows he's always known what he's doing with music. Always. And then I think his most recent contributions to film were, of course, the Blumhouse David Gordon Green Halloween trilogy that came out between 2018 and 2022, where Evil Dies Tonight. Where him, his son, and his godson composed the film. And they did the music. He was a creative consultant. He did the score for the 2023, I think, Firestarter remake, the one with
Interesting.
Zac Efron. But yeah, that's where he is now. He's just loving making music, and good for him. I'm glad he found something that he's passionate about.
I think he's one of the probably more prolific directors from the horror genre that they're really like reached out beyond what he was known for and still did really well.
Absolutely.
Because They Live isn't really a horror movie, it's more of a sci-fi movie, and Starman is a drama has sci-fi elements. And it's cool to see somebody like that really know what they want back then and really went for it. And then unfortunately the system he had to work with kind of
sucked the passion out of him.
Yeah, dude, really did. He was over it, and he is. Anytime you watch interviews with him talking about it, he does not even really want to talk about it. He's just kind of like, that shit's beneath me. I don't want to fucking deal with that shit.
Absolutely. Skylar, what about you? What are your final thoughts about John Carpenter? Is he one of your favorites?
Especially after widening the amount of films I've seen of his, he's definitely becoming one of my favorites. I mean, Halloween is one of my favorite films ever, so it's hard not to say that he is. But like you were saying, just across so many different genres, he can convey like similar themes, his, as you were saying as well, his ideologies always come through, and there are several through lines, even if he's in horror, action, drama, sci-fi,
So I think it's probably one of the best directors to introduce people to horror. It's very easy with his first few films, and it doesn't really offend too many people, and they can really understand what the film's about, like what the tones were that he was really going for. Like, I was just watching the thing with my girlfriend, and she's never seen it, and she was just like, "Oh my god, like, what's going on? Like, what's happening?" Like, she's very like intrigued in what's going to happen next. And like showing Halloween, I took a horror class in college, and we watched Halloween, and somehow a bunch of my class had never seen it, and everyone knew that I was the horror guy. And afterwards they're like, "Holy shit, Chris, this movie was so good. Like, why didn't you tell me?" And I was like, "What are you talking about? Why didn't I tell you? I've probably been saying it for forever to watch Halloween." Because it just captivates you so easily. It's such just like an engrossing film. And the music, the mood, the cinematography, the acting, the script, it was just all so tight. And he did such a great job with it that really took him off. And that's why we're talking about him now.
Oh, absolutely. And I agree with all of you. I think he is one of the few horror directors that successfully kind of could cross over to action or comedy or drama, and it would still be a very compelling story. I mean, we've seen several times where a horror director who's predominantly horror will try to direct an MCU movie, and then they just immediately go back to horror because it just doesn't work. But he is undoubtedly, even though his later filmography, God, it's awful. I still think just the films that he gave, amazing films that he gave us, like The Fog, Halloween, The Thing, They Live, Prince of Darkness, they all, I think, help establish him as an all-time great that, we're still talking about to this day.
Yeah.
But yep, we did it. We did it, everybody. First of all, Chris and Skylar, it is always a pleasure having both of you on. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Saturday to come with us, and definitely both of you come back whenever. We love having you guys.
Love being here.
Thank you guys so much. First, before we do our plugs, we got to give away some blood coin. So go to Discord, join the Block of Horror community, and get yourself some blood coin. Open up a ticket. So today's keyword is The Thing. So usually we do all one. I think it has to be all one word. One word. So just type in the thing, one word, the blood coin, and get yourself some blood coin. So let's do some plugs. First, Chris, thank you again so much
Yeah,
for
man.
joining us. We are looking forward to having you back very soon. And what do you got going on? Where can people follow you? Let's do it.
Well, I mean, you can follow me at Call Me Carlson. And I don't got too much going on. Hopefully next year we'll have some fun stuff going on. But right now, I got Halloween coming up. Is my favorite time of year. I'm sure it's your guys's too. I got Halloween Horror Nights happening right down the street from me. So I'm going to be hitting some haunts and enjoying some scary good times all around Los Angeles. And then unfortunately, we'll have Christmas and I'll have to deal with that.
Hey, Christmas horror films.
Santa's sleigh. Let's go.
Terrifier 3, Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Garbage Day.
Garbage Day. Thank you so much again, Chris. And Skylar, again, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to having you again in the future. So where can people follow you? What do you have going on?
Yeah, so I'm Skylar Gaetano on YouTube. I make videos about horror movies and TV shows. I'm usually always making something about American Horror Story, but this upcoming month I've got a big video I've been working on about Nightmare on Elm Street. So definitely, if you're an Elm Street fan, you should definitely look forward to that and check that out. I've also just done a video on I Saw the TV Glow. You should definitely check out.
That one was really good. Channel. That one was really good. I did watch that one. Thank you so much again, Skylar. And again, shout out to our producer, Mike. Thank you for taking over things on the technical side.
Acer.
Once Aaron had to get off. Of course, you can follow me on Instagram, Blue Sky, X, and Letterboxd at OHChase, TikTok at OHChase. See me here every Saturday on Half Hour Horror with Aaron McLean. You can follow Aaron McLean at McLean Enable on Instagram and all in his other podcasts, Launchpad Pod at Launchpad Pod on Facebook, Blue Sky, wherever you listen to your podcasts, Instagram, and of course, all things Block of Horror, X, Instagram, YouTube, blockofhorror.com, the virtual world, and on Discord. And again, we will see you all next Saturday. Have a great week, everyone.
Later, guys.